Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Raiders Daily. My name is Jax. I post daily Raiders content. So hit that like button, hit that sub button if that interests you. Today we have an article on PFF.com from Sam Monson, and I want to go ahead and react to it because I guess this is a bold prediction for every team in the AFC West. And I caught a glimpse at one of the Raiders ones, and it was Derek Carr related, and I was instantly enticed. I really liked what it said, so let's just get right into it. We'll scroll down here to the Las Vegas Raiders. And please, guys, go ahead, drop some comments down below. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me or the article, just give your thoughts on these takes because this is something I want to start doing on a consistent basis on this channel, but I don't really have that big of a following where, when I ask, I don't really get too many responses. So hit that sub button. So the first one, this is the one I saw. Derek Carr has the best PFF grade of his career. So I'm all for this. I'm all for this, man. The last time, I don't even remember the last time Derek Carr had an elite receiver or at least a really, really good, just a really good wide receiver. I'm not trying to shade any of their current guys. I'm not trying to shade any of their past guys. Like, Hunter Renfrow is really solid, but this is more recent. Like, you could argue he just had his breakout season. He just had his 100 reception, 1,000+ yard season. And so I think this is really where we're going to start seeing the rise of Hunter Renfrow at a more rapid pace. But for right now, man, like, there's nobody comparable to Davante Adams that Derek Carr or any of these Raiders have played with in their tenure. Like, Amari Cooper was super nice. Crabtree was nice. But it's no Davante Adams. Like, Davante Adams is, to me, undisputed the best wide receiver in the entire league. So you give Derek Carr, who in my opinion, regardless of scheme, regardless of personnel, is already a top 10 quarterback. Like, I'm not trying to sit here and be like, Derek Carr's the best quarterback in the league. I'm not trying to say that. I'm trying to keep it real. Derek Carr, regardless, is a top 10 quarterback in this league, or at least that's my opinion. So you give him the best wide receiver in all of football, and you give him a healthy squad, you give him an improved offensive line, you give him an improved wide receiver core, an improved running back. Like, it's just everything on offense except for the offensive line I feel so confident in. Even the smaller guys, DeMarcus Robinson, Keelan Cole, I know it was with Stidham and Nick Mullins mainly, but they provided their value. They showed me their value in the preseason game. So I really can't wait to see what Derek Carr can do with the best wide receiver in football. All right, number 2. Oh, yeah, this sucks. The Raiders will finish with a bottom 5 offensive line. Heading into the season, so here's the quote. If there's one thing that can sink the Raiders this season, it's the offensive line, a group that ranks 29th heading into the preseason on paper. Really tough. Really tough. The good news is we saw, while, through the first two preseason games, we haven't seen, it's not like we're kind of in the middle of it, if that makes sense. Like, we haven't seen the worst of what could happen. We definitely haven't seen the best of what could happen, but we've got a fair share of taste of both. I think back to, unfortunately, Brandon Parker's season is most likely over. But first game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, there were a lot of factors at play. But that wasn't great. But, especially in this past weekend's game, I thought we saw some solid stuff on the offensive line. The Alex Leatherwood situation really is the headliner when you're talking Las Vegas Raiders offensive line. This past season, he allowed 67 pressures, which no lineman in the entire NFL allowed more than that. So, the fact that the Raiders ranked 28th last year, bottom 5, that's technically one slight improvement to 27th best or worst. But I really don't see the Raiders having that bad of an offensive line as they did last year. Even if Alex Leatherwood doesn't develop into what you're hoping for, or even if it's another complete dud of a season for Alex Leatherwood, the draft pick of Dylan Parham, they had a good draft at the offensive line in specific, but I really am not worried. Even if they didn't draft Dylan Parham, they didn't draft other linemen, they didn't go out and make some moves for linemen, I still have a hard time believing that they could possibly be worse than what they were last year, especially with the new scheme, with new personnel, with new coaches coming into play. I really don't see that happening. Maybe, granted, maybe I'm a little bit biased, and this is something that a lot of people feel differently for, but I'm remaining hopeful. I'm trying to remain positive about it, and I really don't see the offensive line being enough of a problem where it's like, yeah, dude, the Raiders would have made the playoffs had their offensive line held up. Like, I don't think it's that dire. I don't think it's that desperate. Is it the best offensive line in the world? Definitely not, or at least on paper, and from what we've been seeing, they're definitely not the best offensive line in the entire league. But I don't think that they'll suffer enough where you can blame the whole season on it. So improvements can be made. There are still plenty of guys out there on free agency. You can make trades. Rosters are made in the 52 weeks of a calendar year. So I really am not worried about the offensive line. But that's something I actually would love to hear from you guys. You guys gave me a little bit yesterday on my video, my post-game recap video of the Vikings game, but I would love to see what you guys have to say about the offensive line after preseason week number 2. And then lastly, we have something I absolutely love. Let's go. Nate Hobbs makes a Pro Bowl. I absolutely love this. I made a video on Nate Hobbs a handful of days ago. I mean, I really don't think it's all that a surprise that he has been crazily impressing the coaches. I mean, the coaching staff is absolutely adorned by this guy right now, and I really don't think that's much of a surprise. I saw in my video where I talked about Nate Hobbs, a lot of you guys had pretty much predicted this before it even happened. Like, before he even played a snap for the Raiders last season, a lot of you guys were already saying, I copped the jersey, I placed the bet, I bought the card. Like, a lot of people were on the Nate Hobbs bandwagon, or I shouldn't say bandwagon. They were on the Nate Hobbs train before it happened. And I am a little bit biased in this because he went to U of I, and if you see, this is a Chicago flag. I live here in Chicago. Like, Nate Hobbs, U of I legend. Yeah, of course. Hell yeah. Give him a Pro Bowl spot. This is genuinely something I've been really kind of trying to say is, so 8.5 yards per catch last season. I thought he was one of the more underrated, like as far as low-key underrated defensive backs in the NFL go, I really think there is an argument to be made for Nate Hobbs last season. This guy played, I think he played in every single game. Maybe he missed one, but I know his starts were single digits. I believe he played in only 9 starts, and still, even just statistically, you look at it for a rookie, even though he is, a DB, I really like the stats that I saw. So I'm definitely on the Nate Hobbs train. So I gotta say, I really think this is, something I really don't say much when I read Raiders articles, Raiders content. Like I said, if you guys are new here, this is my first season covering the Raiders. I'm a pretty crazy Green Bay Packers fan, but I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. Once Davante Adams got traded over here, I inquired about the Raiders. I'm like, damn, this team is pretty freaking dope, and I love talking football. So here we are, falling in love with the Raiders day by day. And I gotta say, from what I've seen, especially of the first 2 preseason games, I think this is gonna be one hell of a season. So that's it for today, man. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for daily Raiders content. Drop some comments down below. I would love to read them and comment. And that's it, man. Peace. Have a good day.